The power of the dark side.
What's up, everybody? I'm Clown Prince.
I'm Zoom.
And today we're here to talk about Jessica Jones Season 2. So me and Zoom got a chance to finish it within about a week or so, because it was that good. It was pretty good. So, first thing we need to talk about, the most relevant character in this whole entire season, Simpson. My guy Simpson had to be the most irrelevant character I've ever seen in any show, ever.
No, that's not true. Like, he was irrelevant. Like, just comparing
He was top 10 most irrelevant characters ever.
Just comparing his arc from, like,
Season 1.
last season to this season, you just see it just take a nosedive just...
Yeah. I mean, and that's a good thing. Like, it wasn't really focused about him.
Yeah, it's fine, whatever.
But he did leave something behind, which was his inhaler that he got from IGH, which, you know, gave him more enhanced capabilities. And that played a huge role in what we can arguably say is the main villain of Season 2. Trish Walker was the main antagonist. Not the main, but she was one of the main antagonists.
Definitely the second. If you're not
Yes.
going to say the first, which you can make a case, obviously, that she was not the first, but she was definitely the second antagonist.
Yes.
Just in this terms, just because of how selfish she was. You just see that, like, with her arc this season. Like she was, like, very supportive of Jess during the first season. She was, but, you know, like...
She was dope.
Yeah, she was dope, and that's fine. Like, and I'm not saying that should be her only role. Like, I'm not saying this arc was terrible. It was just like, wow.
It made her seem very selfish.
Yeah, and you see that just because of the whole inhaler thing. She becomes addicted again. Or to drugs, which would be the inhaler. And then you see, like, just her using people, and it's like not good. Like, she uses Malcolm. Like, as soon as she learns that Malcolm is attracted to her like that, like, it was out. It was done. It was a wrap for him. Like, Poor Malcolm. Poor Malcolm. He was our favorite character this season. She did him dirty like that.
Yeah. We'll briefly just mention, like, her love interest that she had in the beginning of the season. You know, he proposed. They were engaged for a split 5 seconds of screen time, and then she was like, "Nah, I can't do this," which was good on her part. You know, not carrying it any further because that's not what she wanted. But that's it for him. He was just as irrelevant as Simpson, basically. So, she's not doing too well in the love department, Trish, is she? But yeah, like you said, her entire role this season was just being selfish, and I will say her aim at Jessica's mom's head was phenomenal. But we'll get to that. But at the end was dope. The little her phone fell, and she had a little, you know,
caught it with her foot.
A nice little soccer move there, teasing Hellcat. And we had said that Hellcat could potentially be a villain, even though in the comics she's not a villain, but for the story arc of Season 3, she could potentially start off being the big antagonist for Jessica. Because now, you know, she's enhanced, she has some powers, it could be a fair fight. But I mean, hey, I wish Trish all the best, because this season just got me like...
She was very conflicted. I mean, with all the arcs you see, like, they go through a lot of trauma. Like, all the characters,
yes.
They go through, like, either trauma or just, you know, drugs or whatever. But you see them all, like, come through it, but they end off in different spots. Like, they don't all end, like, together, like, all happy and stuff. Like,
so on that note, I guess we can start talking about Jerry.
yeah.
And Jerry, ultimately, I want to say one of my favorites, but I do like her. Like, the actress is phenomenal, and also, you know, she appears in Iron Fist and The Defenders, so she's a big part of the Marvel Netflix universe.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of the season, like, you just feel for her. You really just do. You know, you find out she has ALS, and, you know, she doesn't know whether she has 2 years or 8 years to live, so she would do what any person would do in a real life situation. And that's what makes the show so relatable. That's what makes her story arc so relatable. You know, she went out, you know, she had like prostitution, and, you know, she was desperate. She was trying to find anything to cure her of this. Which leads me to my two least characters. I don't even want to talk about them. Just talk about them because I hated Inez and I hated Shane, the healer. God.
Inez, it made sense. Like, I'm not
It did
saying,
make sense.
It made
I just
sense.
didn't like them.
Them getting into it, just like they just played Hogarth so dirty. Just you see her just come back, and you know when she realizes that, like, oh, they think they can play me like this. Then she
Like,
comes back and
like,
she's like, all
I
right,
have no idea who I
Yeah.
just messed with.
exactly.
And like
then
that's
she
why I
plays-
like her character. She's so badass for that. Other two people that were also trying to get her, which were her
Yeah.
two partners for her law firm, and you know they were just like, yo, we gonna give you this amount of money to just leave because you have this, and like that's
ALS.
messed up.
Yeah.
So it's like, but again, we saw her triumph over them too. Just like, yo, try me. Matter of fact, double that, and double the price, and I'm gonna keep all 64% of
my client.
my clients, and Rand is included in that. And there was like, and
they
she's just
couldn't
like,
do anything because
she's like, hey. So now another person which we can arguably say was our favorite for season 2 was Malcolm.
Yeah, he you see like another triumphant arc here just from season 1. You know, you see him addicted to drugs, and like
I didn't really like him season 1, like the beginning of season 1.
yeah, and
Now he progressed.
and he progresses
completely.
so much. Like it's amazing. Like it shows like, you know, when people can like with like willpower, like when they get like addicted to drugs and then they bounce back, and it's like amazing to see that. You know, you see him working out, you see him working with Jessica as a associate, and yeah, it's nice to see that. And he was so loyal to Jessica throughout the entire season. You see him getting approached for jobs and stuff like that from the
Price Chang,
Price Chang,
the other private
the
investigator.
other private investigator who Jessica messed up.
He was pissed. He was
Yeah,
tight.
he was very pissed. He had a vendetta against her, but yeah, you see that, and like you just see it's great. It's like it was great to see like him being like, no, I'm sticking with Jessica, and like all this stuff. And even when he quit, like you see him, he fixed up the wall, and he like fixed up her office nice.
He's always occupied, and that's always
Exactly.
good for like, you know, an addict to do, like,
Yeah.
you know, an ex-addict. So it's like,
very
and-
realistic.
yeah.
Very realistic take on how someone who would bounce back from addiction would probably be acting. I haven't done it, so I don't know, but.
and unfortunately for Jessica at the end, you know, he ends up taking that offer from Price, but good for him,
Yeah.
you know, like he's like, yo, like
She wasn't.
you
she
don't
wasn't
believe in me, yeah,
appreciative.
you don't appreciate me, like I'm gonna do this for myself.
Yeah.
So overall, like Malcolm's story arc, very good. And now we could talk about Jessica Jones herself. So she, excuse me, Jessica has been through a lot, and we've seen that in season 1 with Kilgrave. Before I forget, he did have an episode, and it was just focused on him, which was great. He was in her head, and David Tennant, incredible actor. So just to see him, it feels for an episode, feels for a second, for a whole, it feels for a whole season. It was just great that he was there. So yeah, back to what I was saying. So with Kilgrave, with the loss of her parents, with as we see in an episode of season 2, which I really liked, was the backstory behind how she got her jacket, like with her mom and her ex-boyfriend. So we got to see the trauma she had with that, and like you say, how was she like before all this?
Yeah, you
know?
just see the total change. Like, I mean, like you see her like kind of not, I don't want to say vulnerable, just, you know, like a normal person, just, you know, caring for, you know, her boyfriend or significant other, you know, trying to promote the club with him and defending him when he was like, you know, in debt with those loan sharks or whatever, and you know, you see that, like it's cool. It was cool to see that, and like, but obviously, you know, life happens, and she got, you know, she went through a lot, like, and she's still going through a lot in season 2. Like, you see it, and she just starts changing, like, and it's not like she's gonna obviously become bad or something like that. Like, it's just, you know,
definitely not.
it's just, you know, she just goes through it, and she deals with it in her own ways.
It's
Yeah.
like again, like I said, like the reason Kilgrave was in that episode is because he was her guilty conscience, and it's like she ended up killing, you know, the prison guard that was holding her mom. Yes, he was sadistic. He was a complete a-hole,
Yeah, he killed, like, he saw all those prisoner numbers. That's why he.
So
Yeah.
so he deserved it, but still, to her, like in her, like she's not a killer, so it's like that haunted her. So it's like she has to deal with all that, and now like the main focus that she has to deal with is her mom, who she thought she was dead, who's actually alive, super powered, more powerful than her, who's also a murderer. And she also has to deal with like whether do I stay here, do I keep doing what I'm doing, or do I run away with her?
Yeah.
And you know, and it's like.
It's a tough spot. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only does she have to deal with that, after Trish, like I mentioned before, put a bullet in her mom's head while she was sitting literally no further distance than we're sitting right here, which I forgot to mention is really close. We shouldn't be this close right now. But she has to deal with that. Like, she has to see her mom dying again. Someone she thought she was dead, dying all over again.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Jessica still, like, the last scene in the whole season was her at the dinner table with her new love interest Oscar and his son Vito. So again, another kind of hopeful situation in this season 2 like arc for everyone. Oh, one last thing that we forgot to mention that she also had to deal with is IGH. You know, all the experiments that they did on her trying to find like who's behind all this. We had Wizard show up.
Yeah. Oh my god.
And oh no.
I mean, it was
No.
cool how they. It was cool that they used Wizard from the comics. It was just like, why? The special effects of him running, I just thought were.
They were cheesy.
Yeah,
They were way
and
too
that
cheesy.
that noise, I was like, yeah, like when it played. You know what I'm saying? And like,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, please stop.
If you're
like,
a speedster in the MCU, you just got nothing going for
it's
you.
a dub
We're
for you.
sorry. But yeah, so Dr. Carl, another antagonist, but really like he was just a mad scientist.
Yeah.
He wanted to do these experiments. He was fascinated by these experiments. He couldn't stop doing them, but he wasn't doing them for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
He wasn't like,
He
I'm
wasn't
going to
like,
create these
yeah.
superpowered people. No, like,
To like make my
he
own
wanted
army.
to save lives,
Yeah.
but unfortunately it backfired and it created, you know, a maniac. One little thing as well, it was cool little cameos. We don't actually see, you know, Spider-Man or Captain
Obviously.
America, but
They mentioned them.
yeah, they mentioned them. You know, with great power comes great responsibility, and Vito had like the action figure of Captain America. He lost his shield, which I think, you know, I could be reaching, but in Civil War, you know, Cap leaves his shield
He left
behind.
the shield.
So it's like that's pretty cool to see. You know how they kind of connect. You know, the cinematic universe with the Netflix series. But now we can definitely just talk about the central message, which was hope. Like we mentioned before, you know, after battling through all these things, you know, what Jessica's been through, Hogarth's been through, Malcolm's been through, Trish, all of them at the end still have a purpose, and it leads to season 3, and I'm excited for that.
You don't see anybody lost at the end of the season, really. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody was kind of just like they were in their
They
own
know their
spot.
purpose.
They know what they're gonna do. Like it's
Exactly.
like, you know, they're just accepted what's happened. Like it's what it is what it is.
But you do get a Civil War vibe, as in the team is divided.
Yeah.
And you know, it I don't know, it's pretty hard to come back from, you know, your best friend,
Shooting
your
your mom
sister
in the
shooting
head.
your mom in the dome piece.
That's
But you never know, something can bring them back together. But overall, season 2 is fantastic. We rank it really high within like the seasons of the Marvel Netflix
like
shows.
top 4.
And let us know, you know, comment what you guys think. Subscribe before you do anything, because that's most important to us.
Down
But,
below.
Yeah, leave your any questions you had. We can answer them for you. But yeah, that's it.